Hello friends, welcome back to Chanagiri's Nursing Education Tutorials. In last two sessions, we have discussed about concept of evidence-based practice, steps of evidence-based practice, hierarchy, barriers, advantages and disadvantages of evidence-based practice. Before starting today's session, I want to remind you that you all are remembering some nursing theory models such as self-care deficit model, disease prevention model, epidemiological triad, etc. You might have learned these models in your first year BSc Nursing or in first year MSc Nursing in the subjects of Fundamental of Nursing and Advanced Concept. Likewise, we do have here some evidence-based practice model. Yes, today we will discuss on some evidence-based practice model. To understand the concept of models, watch the video till end, and if you have not yet subscribed the channel, then please subscribe the channel and press the bell icon to get regular notification whenever I upload the videos. Let me begin with the session that is models of evidence-based practice. Here I am going to discuss with you on three popular evidence-based practice models. If you are unable to understand or have some doubts, please comment in the comment box, which I will try my level best to explain you in further videos. The first model which I am going to discuss with you in this session is Johns Hopkins Nursing Evidence-Based Practice Model. Basically, it is used as a framework to guide the synthesis and translation of evidence into practice. Like every model, this model also has some phases. Let us discuss about the phases of Johns Hopkins Nursing Evidence-Based Practice Model. The first phase of this model is identification of answerable question. In this phase, you need to identify answerable question. For example, how to prevent bed sore through bed making. Yes, it can be answerable, and you need to search the causative factors which are responsible for bed sore. That may be wrinkled bed or wet bed or continuous lying down on a bed in single position, etc. The second phase is a systematic review and synthesis of both research and non-research evidences. Once you identified the answerable question, then you go for searching the literature which support your doubts and clarifies the questions. Suppose literature says bed wrinkles are responsible for causing bed sore, then you need to solve that problem. For solving problem, again you need to search the literature for answer, or you can ask anybody who have the knowledge about it. Then you learn the procedure of bed making to provide clean, neat and wrinkle-free bed to prevent bed sore among the patients. The third phase is translation, includes implementation of the practice change as a pilot study, measurement of outcomes and dissemination of findings. Once you reviewed about your answerable question and found out the procedure, then you need to implement it on small scale and analyze. Once outcomes are satisfactory, then you go ahead on large scale implementation, and if results are unsatisfactory, then you need to repeat the phases of the model. This is about phases of Johns Hopkins Nursing Evidence-Based Practice Model. I hope you all have understood the phases of this model, and let us see the conceptual model of Johns Hopkins Nursing Evidence-Based Practice Model. Friends, when you see this, you can remember the epidemiological triad. Here we do have three concepts. Those are education, research and practice. So these three concepts are interrelated. Through education, we do research on the not answered questions, and research will provide us evidences which we are going to practice in our profession to solve the patient problem or problems. The model explains us some barriers. Those are internal barriers such as culture, environment, equipment supplies, staffing, effectiveness and standard, and external barriers such as accreditation, core measures, legislation, licensing, standard, etc. Yes, when we plan to implement a procedure, we need to consider all these barriers. Sometimes culture may not allow to do the procedure or environmental conditions may not be feasible to apply the procedure on patient, or lack of equipments may be the reason to avoid applying the procedure, or you may require more number of staffs to implement the things, and also the standards of a procedure may affect it. Sometimes the procedure you want to apply on a patient that may not be having accreditation by higher authority or may not have a license to practice in your locality. Hence, you must consider these external and internal factors while choosing the evidences or procedures. Once you confirmed the evidences are feasible, then you can apply on patient care. This is about the model of Johns Hopkins Nursing Evidence-Based Practice Model. Next, we will discuss on Iowa model, that is IOWA model. The Iowa model originated in 1994 and it focuses on organization and its collaboration, incorporating conduct and use of research along with the other types of evidences. The Iowa model developed on two main triggers. Those are a knowledge focused trigger, that is, which emerges from awareness of innovative research findings. The second trigger is a problem focused trigger that has its root in a clinical or organizational problem. Let us discuss in detail about this Iowa model. To find evidences, we do need some forces or triggers which provoke us to search the evidences, that is, knowledge focused triggers, which includes new research or other literature, national agencies or organizational standards and guidelines, philosophies of care, questions from institutional standard committee, and other type of trigger, that is, problem focused triggers includes risk management data, forces improvement data, internal and external benchmarking data, financial and identification of clinical problem. Once you choose the trigger or triggers, then you need to think on the topic that is this topic has priority for the organization or not. If not, then choose other trigger. If yes, then form a team. Once after forming a team, assemble relevant related literature. After assembling, critique and synthesize research for use in practice. Then you need to decide whatever you have collected, the relevant research base is sufficient or not. If it is sufficient, then take it for pilot project and apply on small sample, that is, pilot the change in practice means select outcomes to be achieved, collect baseline data, design evidence-based practice guidelines, implement evidence-based practice on pilot units, evaluate process and outcomes, modify the practice guidelines. If research base is insufficient, then base practice on other types of evidence means case report, expert opinion, scientific principle, theory. Once you finalize the other types of evidence, then that will be taken as pilot project. After pilot study or project, whatever the change you brought in practice, that can be applicable to bring change in practice or not. If yes, then adopt the change in practice. If not, then continue to evaluate quality of care and new knowledge. Once you adopt the change, then monitor and analyze the structure of change, adopt the terms of outcome data, environment, staff, cost effectiveness and benefits to the patient and family. Then after all these, you disseminate the knowledge. Friends, this is about the Iowa model of evidence-based practice. I hope you all have understood the Iowa model of evidence-based practice. And in next session, we will discuss one more model of evidence-based practice, that is Stellar model of evidence-based practice. Till that time, take care and thank you for watching and listening my lecture. Thank you.